call you. I'll call you some other.
Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Shri Saraswate Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Janmadhyasya yatonvayaditaratashchartheshvabhignaswarat तेने ब्रह्महृदायादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृतां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मप्रोज्झितकैटवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम् वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनं श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतं भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिकाः आहुकाः त्वं श्रीविभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् ताम्बरादरुणबिम्बफलादरोष्टात् नेन्दुसुन्दरमुखादरविन्दनेत्रात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने आस्वादितप्रणतमनाय जनमानसनिवासाय श्री Hari Om everybody. Thank you for joining. Apologies for the slight delay. So we have finished the first two cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, and now we start Canto 3. And the name of this canto, the theme of it is Sarga. Sarga means the creation of the basic building blocks of life. So um, Sarga is the creation of rice. Visarga, subsequent creation, is then making that rice into idli, vada, dosa, whatever. So, the Mula Vastu is a creation of that is Sarga. So that is the main theme of this canto. Now, we had left off in the second canto where Parikshit Maharaja had asked a whole lot of questions. How did Bhagavan create the world? Then etc. All his avatars and so on. Now, Shukadevji begins this canto by saying that this question was asked by Vidura to Maitreya Rishi. Who was Vidura? Vidura was the brother of Pandu and Dhritarashtra, and he was an advisor to Dhritarashtra, always trying to bring him to the path of uh, the right. Dhritarashtra, with his attachment to Duryodhana and other sons, was too heavily influenced by them and by Shakuni, Karna, and others, and finally followed the wrong path. But Vidura did his best. It's important to know that Vidura himself was an avatara of Lord Yama, because some one sage's child had died, and that sage demanded an explanation why that child had died, and Yamaraja could not give a good reason or something like that. There's a story somewhere else. Because of that, he was cursed that he would be born as a human. He was born. But he tried his best to create harmony between the Pandavas and Kauravas. But when it became clear that a war was inevitable, he said, "No, I don't want to be part of this." And he went off on a Tirtha Yatra. You see, there's a hidden meaning. Because remember, who is Vidura? Yama. Hmm? Now, a war is going to happen in Kurukshetra. You would think that that is the place where Yama should be, no? Because in war, there is so much of death about to happen. So, Yamaraja will have lot of work over there. He didn't go anywhere near Kurukshetra, he went in the opposite direction. Because in that war, Bhagavan was there. No? Whoever died seeing Bhagavan. As Uddhava says, they died seeing Bhagavan's smiling face at the arrows of Arjuna, a great devotee. Bhagavan also is there. Bhagavatas are also there. In that atmosphere, they died. So all of them got mukti. Pandavas, Kauravas, everything. No discrimination on that front. All of them got mukti. There is no place for Yama there. There was no death at Kurukshetra. It was only liberation. Some of it was liberation by out of love, out of knowledge. Some of it was liberation at the point of a weapon, but liberation nonetheless. The same thing in Ramayana also. So, uh, therefore, Yama was not there. Now, how did this Vidurji come to meet Maitreya Rishi and talk to him? That is a very beautiful story. So, the Shuka starts on there. Things now, see, the main theme of the essence of it is already given, Chatushloki Bhagavatam. So now he can relax and tell the story, going into all the sidetracks he wants to his heart's content. So that urgency of the second canto will not be seen here. So he says now, Vidura was traveling, he went to various uh, places of pilgrimage, did kind of sadhana worship that he was doing. Now, like that many years went by, the war was also over, everything was done, and he was still traveling. He had no idea. He was not watching the news channels and all that. So he didn't know. Now, as he traveled, he came to the banks of Yamuna, he came to Vrindavan. Outskirts only. There he met one old man, dark, wearing an old, slightly worn out Pitambaram. And after it took him a moment, but then he realized that this is Uddhava. Uddhava, Bhagavan Sri Krishna's childhood friend. Who, you know, it says here that when Uddhava was even 4 or 5 years old, his mother used to call him for breakfast in the morning, he would refuse. Said, he'll finish. He was play. His game used to be Krishna Puja. Not that he would keep on Murti and do puja. He would call Krishna and make him sit and do all the puja for him. And Krishna also used to play. Bhagavan, they used to play. Sometimes Uddhava will go to Krishna's house. Sometimes Krishna would come here. So I think Uddhava's mother Yashoda and all had one understanding who will cook which day. Because whatever Uddhava ate from that age on was always only after Krishna ate that prasadam only he would eat. His clothes also never wore new clothes. All his clothes were first Krishna has to wear, then I will wear. Everything in his life was Krishna Prasad from then. And he is the only person other than Balarama who went from Vrindavan to Mathura, then from Mathura to Dwaraka also. So from throughout the entire Krishna Leela, he has been the witness. Even for Rasa Leela, he is the witness because he describes it. So he must have been a witness. And Bhagavan Sri Krishna himself says that Uddhava is in no way lesser than me. He is my equal in every way. He is one with me. Just like Bhagavan Ramachandra left Hanumanji behind. Why did Hanumanji not go to Saket when everybody else went? Somebody had to stay back to take care of her. Somebody had to sing the katha. Somebody had to listen also. Both purposes Hanumanji was left. Same way here, Uddhava is left. And he is traveling around and he meets Vidura. Now Vidura doesn't know what's going on. No, but having met Uddhava, then he inquires about everybody in detail. He remembers all the relatives, all their good points, all their life stories, and asks about each one. Finally, he asks about Krishna also. The moment he asks about Krishna, and he says, "Tell me what is Krishna doing? Tell me about his stories." Then that is where I have to know the show. इति भागवतपृष्ठक्षत्रावार्तां प्रियाश्रयं प्रतिवक्तुं न चोत्सेहे उत्कण्ठ्यात् स्मारितेश्वरः. That Bhagavata, that Uddhava, when he was asked such a question by Kshatra. Kshatra is another name for Vidura, about Priyashrayam. This is such a lovely word for Bhagavan, Priyashrayam. It can be interpreted in many ways. So, one way is Priyasya Ashrayam. He is the Ashraya, the refuge for those who are devoted to him. First meaning. Or Priyascha Ashrayascha. He is the beloved and he is the refuge for all. Or Priyaha Ashrayam Yasya. The one who takes refuge in the hearts of those who, all three ways it can be. When he was asked like this, Uddhava could not respond. He couldn't find the word. Why? He was choked up. Ariteshwara. Not out of sadness, just out of remembering Bhavan. One reminder, one nama, one fragrance from somewhere. Enough for somebody who has that kind of love in their heart. Enough to try. And he just had goosebumps. He had tears in his eyes. He had a smile. Vidurji did not disturb him. Uddhava went into samadhi, went into bhava samadhi. But Vidurji did not disturb. स कथं सेवया तस्य कालेन चरसङ्गतः पृष्ठो वार्तां प्रतिब्रूयात् भर्तुर्पादौ अनुस्मरत्. Having served Krishna from childhood, now he had become old. The dadi and all white. It reminds me of Shivaramanji in Siddhabari. He spent his whole life serving Gurudev. And after that also, he lived as though Gurudev was always with him. Samuhurtam अभूत् तूष्णीं कृष्णाङ्घ्रिसुधया भृशं तीव्रेण भक्तियोगेन निमग्न साधु निर्वृतः. For a moment he became quiet. Then he went into samadhi. Because Tivrena Bhakti Yogena, in that love he became one with Krishna, he drowned in that bhakti and nirvritaha. So he went into samadhi. In Shanakair Bhagavalokat Lokam Punarakataha Vimrujya Netre Viguram Pratyaha Bhava Utsmaya. Slowly, after some time, Bhagavat Lokat Nrilokam, he left Vaikuntha and came back to earth. What does this tell? When we remember Bhagavan with our heart, with total love, that is Vaikuntha. What is Vaikuntha without Bhakti? Bhakti, in its fullness, is Vaikuntha. It's not a place. He left that Bhagavad Loka and came to Nriloka. Why? For no other reason. And he wiped his eyes and with a smile, he said to, what can I tell you, Vidura? He doesn't say that Krishna died. He doesn't say Krishna has ended his avatar. See the words he uses. Krishna Dyumani Nimloj. The sun that was Krishna has said. Means what? We are not able to see. But the sun has not gone anywhere, no? When the sun sets, the sun is itself. Our ability to see it, and it will come again also. Morning will come. So he's playing hide and seek with us. Right now, he's hiding it. But from our point of view, it feels that, oh, Girneshu, Atakarena, we are being swallowed up by the snake of time. Maya is catching us. Krishna is not there. Lord, why have you forsaken me? He's not forsaken anybody. We have lost sight of him briefly. That's all. But from our point of view, it may feel like that. And so he said, Kim nuna kushalam bruyat. What can I say about our well-being? Because Gata Shrishu, Bhagavan has gone, he has taken Rukmini Devi also. Our entire wealth was him, all that is gone. Gata Griheshu, my home is also gone. Right? His home was wherever Krishna is, that was his home. So Krishna is not there, so he feels. Yeah. So now remembering Bhagavan, this Uddhavji uh, goes through all his different memories from the birth of Krishna onwards. What should come in Dashama Skandam in 2 or 3 chapters here he describes the entire Krishna Avatara from Dwaraka to Prabhasa, the whole thing. He relives that. And the beauty is, while he's talking about it, no, he's not using past tense. And he's not talking about Krishna as though he's not there. He uses word Asya, this Krishna who's here now. So he is very much in that presence. Because when we listen to Katha, it's like that. It is not a history, it's not something from ancient time. When we are listening to Katha, that Katha is happening here and now in our heart. It should be told in present. So now he tells that whole story and he tells how Krishna was getting ready to end his avatara. He went and sat under a tree, comfortable days on stylish pose. Imagine Krishna more than 120 years or whatever. We can't imagine, no? Old Krishna. He looked young still. Let's say he looked young. Because we can't imagine him with hair and sitting there. And Uddhava was there nearby. Uh, I said, Bhagwan, either take me with you or you stay back. One of the two things because I cannot be away from you. Krishna said, that means you have not gained the knowledge which you should have gained after a lifetime with me. So I will now teach you that which I taught Brahmaji, the Chatushloki Bhagavatam, that same knowledge I will give you. This sense of separation. Because even now you're talking in terms of you and me as though we are two separate things. Now, as this was going on, Maitreya Rishi came there. It says Yadrichya, but actually again it is through Bhagavan's desire that he should be there. He came and got Bhagavan's. Bhagavan says, come, you have done a lifetime of tapas. For you, free pass to Vaikuntha is already there. Open visa, anytime you want, you can go. Rishi says, Bhagavan, what Vaikuntha? No, you are here. Where else do I have to go? He says, yes, but I'm about to end my avatar. And I was just about to explain few things to Uddhava before that. You can also listen if you will. Maitreya Rishi was very happy. He also sat there. And they had one beautiful. Vidurji says, "Well, what did Bhagavan say? Just give me that knowledge. Shiva says, sorry. That one thing I cannot. All the other secrets he has told, why can't he tell that? No, because Bhagavan told Maitreya Rishi, whatever I have told now, no, he's passed this knowledge on to Vidura. So he had appointed a person. See the compassion. Bhagavan has chosen the guru for each jiva and made the arrangements. uh, when he heard this, Atmanam cha kuru shreshta, Krishnena manasekshita, ayan gate bhagavate, Roda prema vihvalaha. When Vidurji heard that Bhagavan, who is the one that everybody wishes to remember at the moment of death in order to attain mukti. At the time of his leaving his body, he remembered that Bhagavan remembered me, thought of my welfare. He started crying, Prema Vihvala, totally overcome. They embraced each other, talked about Bhagavan all night. This is how Narada Bhakti Sutra also describes. In the morning, they hesitantly took leave. Uddhava went towards Badrikashrama, and Vidurji went to Haridwar because that's where Maitreya Rishi's ashram. She's on from Yamuna straight to the Ganga, because Yamuna represents bhakti, and when bhakti comes, jnana is not far away. Ganga represents jnana. Then Dwarityunadya Rishabhakurunam Maitreya Masina Magadha Bodham Shakopasritya Judabhava Siddha Papracha Saushilya Gunabhitru. This, scene itself, it makes me think of picture actually when I try to picture this, but I picture only Gurudev going and meeting on the banks of the Ganges in Rishikesh, in Haridwar, Maitreya Rishi is sitting there. How is it described? No? Maitreya Asinam Agadha Bodham. That Maitreya was sitting Agadha Bodham in endless wisdom. So one thing is the physical sitting, but his soul was established in that. Or Asinam Sridhara Swami says, by saying he was sitting means he was not doing anything else. While sitting, what do we do? When we are sitting quietly in our hall, we are not, our mind is doing so many other activities. We are in the office, we are in the kitchen, or we are thinking of sleeping, whatever it is. But some activity is going on. No activity. Totally at peace. Sitting just to enjoy sitting. Just sitting. See that Guru, where the Guru is, that is Haridwar. It doesn't have to be the particular place. Guru is the gateway to Bhagavan. He is the Haridwar. So he reached, and see, not that Vidura himself needed to be taught anything. He is himself an avatar of Yamaraja. Yamaraja himself is an Upanishad guru, right? And here it says, Kshata Upasritya Achyuta Bhava Siddha. He is already completely Siddha. His love for Bhagavan has fulfilled his life. There's nothing more for him to gain. But Bhagavan has left one special satsang for him, so he had to go and enjoy that. So even after gaining everything, but then listening to Katha, listening to Vedanta, enjoy that. Or so it would seem. I can't say from experience, but we see that Mahatmas do go and continue Shravanam even when it is not necessary. Uh, we need for us, satsang is like food, like rice, like vegetables. We have to nourish us. But for the Mahatmas, satsang is like the sweet dish. Not necessary, but there is one ananda in that. He went and did namaskaram, everything, and Now that Rishi is sitting quietly, not doing anything. So to make him speak, one question has to be asked. Because without asking, you should not start giving lectures, is one point of Dharma. So to get him started, Vidurji asked one question. What a question it is. Vidura Vacha. सुखाय कर्माणि करोति लोकः न तैः सुखं वा न्यदुपरमं वा विन्देत भूयस्तत एव दुःखं यदत्र युक्तं भगवान् वदेन्नः. Yes, lokah, this whole world, all of us, sukhaya karmani karoti, we do all sorts of activities for what? For happiness, right? But we don't get happiness. That is sukham. In fact, nor do we get paramam, nor do we get any kind of peace from that. Nor, that is, we don't get detachment from those desires also. We think that by fulfilling our desires, we'll get happiness. But that fulfilling desire does not give any abiding happiness, nor does the desire end, it continues to grow ever more intense. And if that were not enough, Vindeta bhuyas tataiva dukham. Not only did they not get happiness, but positively we get misery, get the opposite. What should people do in such a situation? That, hey Bhagavan, must teach. Such a lovely question. Again, lokahitam for everybody, for all of us, relevant to all times. Now, Maitreya Rishi responds by praising the question and by talking about how Brahmaji, how the creation began. Okay, one theory of creation is given. So many theories are given. Okay, here it is said that there was Brahman, Bhagavan, without a second. Then Maya was there. Then from Bhagavan and Maya together, Mahat Tattva was born. From that Mahat Tattva came Ahankara. And Ahankara had three aspects: the Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. From the Sattvic aspect came the Devatas and the mind. From the Rajasic aspect came the organs of action and the sense organs. From the Tamasic aspect come the five great elements. All this theory is given. It doesn't matter whether it is creation, evolution, Big Bang theory, whatever theory appeals to us, we plug that in here and understand that behind it lies the hand of God. That existence is possible. That consciousness, that creativity that makes it possible, that is Bhagavan. So this is not meant for, see, when we are engaging with the world, we have to go with whatever is the understood scientific theory. But here the point is to develop bhakti. Then whatever creates love in our heart, that view we can take and use for the purpose of our meditation, for the purpose of our sadhana. Even the rishis of that time, I think they took whatever was the current understanding and beautifully used that to then take us from the world to what is beyond the existence. Okay? So now Maitreya Rishi's response and further Varaha Avtaram is there, but I spent so much time describing Uddhava itself. That now there is not enough time to get into that properly. We'll see that in the next session. Because when Krishna stories start, I get carried away. Forgive me for that. We'll have one extra session for this canto. What is that? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevachyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om तः प्रविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादि प्राणान् नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्दा। Thank you all, and I'll see you 2 weeks from now. Hare